My name is John Blanchette. I'm a former member of the Board of Directors of LA Arts, and I currently serve on the Board of Directors for Community Little Theater. When I graduated from college, my grandmother presented me with one of my most cherished gifts. It was an album filled with notes, cards, clippings, all the wonderful and happy events of my life to that time. Going to that album never fails to bring a smile to my face, even in the midst of a global pandemic. In this excerpt, we see a man facing a very uncertain future who has a similar such collection. And going back to that collection is part of what he calls Tradition 1A by Howard Rice. My daughter Cindy, senior in college, majoring in psychology. Now, I know parents can be biased, but I truly believe she is one of the most special people God ever created. I feel blessed having her for a daughter. My son Richard. I can sum up my relationship with Richard this way. For years, I thought I was Job, and Richard was my toughest test. Somewhere between locusts and boils, there was Richard. We went through some rough times, we did. But he grew up. Well, and I guess I grew up. And last year, when he graduated from high school, we hugged hard. We hugged so hard, I thought we were going to pull each other into each other. In a way, I think we did. My wife Ruth, the center of it all, the holder together of the pieces. She is a very good woman. I love her very much. I think she knows I love her very much. I tell her as often as I can, which is probably still not often enough. That is my family. That is my life. And this is my treasure box. A lot of what's gone on with the four of us is contained within this box. Well, just an old shoebox, really. Adidas tennis sneakers, size 11 to be exact. I call it my treasure box because it contains notes I treasure greatly, feelings expressed over 26 years. And only the most special notes went into the box. A card Cindy made for me in kindergarten. A Father's Day card from Richard when he wrote the word love for the first time. Well, at least for the first time to me. I'd been putting the notes in the box for a couple of years when I realized I'd sort of started a tradition. And then something happened to make me start another tradition, building off of this one. Tradition 1A, I guess you could call it. I was going to one of my annual physicals with Dr. Ryan. He was listening to my heart with a stethoscope, and he noticed a red mark near my collarbone. He poked at it a little bit and said, "How long's that been there?" And I said, "How long has what been where?" He poked a little bit more, and he said he thought it looked like a basal cell, a form of skin cancer. He said it should come off. He recommended a Dr. Robert Jenner in the same building. And when he looked at it, he said, yep, looks like a basal cell, all right. Let's take it out. And then he added, "If you're going to get skin cancer, this is the best kind to get." I thought that was a little like saying, if you're going to get hit by a car, a Volkswagen is the best kind of car to get hit by. Well, a couple weeks later, I got a handwritten note from Dr. Jenner along with a pathologist report with the medical names for what I had. Names like actinic keratosis. First time I heard that one, I thought it sounded like a carrot with acne. I've had about 25 sores taken off in all now. But I felt that more than just a little bit of skin had been cut away from me. I felt that some of the whoever and whatever I was had been cut out. Some of the me in me was gone. And I wanted to replace what Dr. Jenner had subtracted from the outside by adding something to the inside. And so began Tradition 1A. After each operation, late at night, when everyone else was asleep, I'd come down to this room, reach into the treasure box, and pull out a note. It didn't matter which one, and I'd read it. And it was always one for one. If he cut out 3 skin cancers, I read 3 notes. What Dr. Jenner taketh away, the treasure box giveth back. Dear Michael, thank you for the best year of my life. All my love, all the days, Ruth. What do you say when someone says thank you for the best year of my life? I mean, what do you do with that? Father's Day card from Cindy 5 years ago. Dear Dad, what I want you to know most is that you're more than just a father to me. You are my best friend in the whole world. Your loving daughter, Cindy. That note put a lot back in me. Oh, yeah. And this is one of my all-time favorites. My son wrote it for me when he was 11. See, we got into each other, this thing where we called each other Moose. He was Little Moose, and I was Big Moose. Dear Big Moose, I am very impressed with your upper body strength. I think you can kick King Kong's ass. Signed, Little Moose. Well, it's a pretty big deal when your son thinks you can kick King Kong's ass. He had a sense of humor. I wished I'd sensed that sooner. For the past few years, I've been seeing Dr. Jenner every 6 months. It was a Wednesday night, and I was his last patient. As I was getting up from the table, I felt him touch the spot on the back of my neck, and he said, "How long has that been there?" I kept waiting for him to say, and yep. But he didn't. He just said, "Let's get that out and have it biopsied." His face was all scrunched up like he was angry or something. Well, when he was done, I asked him what he thought it was. And he said he thought it was a melanoma. Funny thing about words, how some big, scary words like actinic keratosis can mean something so innocent, and how a pretty word like melanoma can mean something so bad. 2 days later, he told me that the thing on my neck was indeed a melanoma. And he proceeded to outline all the current treatments, but I listened without hearing. And when it was through, there was a heavy silence. And then I asked him how long he thought I had to live. And he said, if it was, then at best I had 6 months. When I got home, I went right to the treasure box. I remember the first note I took out. It was the one from Richard about kicking King Kong's ass. 53-year-old men with melanomas are in no condition to kick anyone's ass, let alone King Kong's. I had gone to the treasure box out of force of habit. But if life was now going to be taken away from me, then the treasure box could give it shape and clarity. It could nourish me, could confirm me. And in a small way, it did. This is from Ruth for our last anniversary. Dear Michael, not all the years have been easy. Not all the days have been good. But we have much to be thankful for. There is no one else I would rather have spent these last 26 years with. I want to be with you and love you forever. Ruth. I put in writing that I want to be buried in a cemetery near here. It has a lot of trees. I like trees. I have willed that my ashes should be put in a box and buried beneath a white birch tree. There'll be a spot for Ruth right next to me. And I put it in writing that I want my treasure box to be buried with me. I want its ashes to be mixed with mine. Thank you.